Let's get into another trucking one, man. With a guy from Hope Transport, a Cuban brother, that took the lives of 5. And I don't know. It's Let me tell you something. For those of you that don't know, there's been multiple. For years, the truck drivers coming on social media saying that this is a problem. Nobody wanted to listen to truck drivers. That's a fact. Now that social media is pushing things and all that, so now it's coming to national news. If people on social media wasn't pushing things, you wouldn't even see it in the news. People like Ike, Bonehead Truckers, Alex, Mai, from the Asian Mai Show, Trucker News, multiple truck drivers. There's so many truck drivers that do social media, I can't name them all, that been complaining about it. Nobody was doing nothing about it. I've been in this industry for 25 years. Going on 26. And this industry went downhill from when they were supposed to enforce it in 2007. They were supposed to enforce it. And then the 2008 to 2009 crash. And then they came out with CSA 2010. They put regulations on top of regulations on top of regulations that made trucking more unsafe. But we're going to get into it.
The CBS News Texas I-Team has uncovered a disturbing pattern tied to the trucking company involved in the crash that killed 5 people near Terrell. Now, it spans multiple states, multiple company names, and multiple fatalities. Well, this morning, investigative reporter Brian New reveals how this trucking operation has stayed on the road, even as those warnings have piled up.
And I'll tell you, man, I don't know how many miles an hour he was going when he was driving, but he hit that car, and I knew he killed everybody in that truck.
Now, that stretch of Terrell, that stretch on I-20, it's a bad stretch. It is a bad stretch of road. If you don't pay attention, things like this could happen. Especially in that stretch, because that stretch comes to a stop out of nowhere. Now, they came out with these ELDs compared to paper logs when people was really actually running illegal, and it made things worse than making things better. It did. I'm going to give you somewhat insight on what's going on with the situation that people are not talking about, but I'm going to tread lightly because I'm going to just tread lightly. That's what I'm going to say.
In June, a semi hauling U.S. mail slammed into a line of stopped cars on Interstate 20, killing 5 people. Nicole Gregory was in one of them. 4 members of the McKellar family were in another. The truck driver, now charged with manslaughter, told investigators he felt...
Now, according to, for those of you that don't know nothing about trucking, according to DOT, and according to DOT Physical, this driver is considered to be obese because of his weight, his neck, so he shouldn't have even been passing the DOT Physical, for one. According to the law, how do you pass a DOT Physical? And if you don't pass a DOT Physical, you can't even, your commercial license get downgraded. So how did he pass a DOT physical? That's a question you have to ask. And he wasn't supposed to have a commercial driver's license either. Did y'all know that? He wasn't supposed to have no commercial driver's license. But let's continue.
Asleep. It all happened in seconds, but we found the danger had been building for years.
This wasn't an accident. This was a time bomb waiting to go off.
Along with its driver, the trucking company Hope Trans LLC is now under federal investigation.
Now, Hope Trans LLC. You see the sticker, the residue from the tape? That's how you know that they keep switching over company to company, company to company. Whenever you see a truck like that they tape something on it, unless there's an owner-operator that actually owns a truck that's going to a different company, usually when you see people doing that, they have a tremendously bad record and they just keep switching and switching, or they're doing what they call freight fraud. Okay?
A company official is accused of falsifying the truck's registration. Federal records show Hope Trans trucks were involved in 4 other injury crashes in the past 12 months and failed more than a third of its inspections, far above the national average.
Now, let me.
Their drivers repeatedly cited for hours of service violations.
Now listen, ELD, no records on duty status, multiple violations, multiple accidents, multiple. Is the driver and the company to blame for this, or FMCSA, the federal motor carrier? This is what they don't tell you because you're watching the news and a lot of people don't know about this stuff because they haven't been in this industry or this business. So who's to really blame? The actual federal government is the one to blame. But the company also is to blame because I'm pretty sure they switched from one to another, and if you track the VIN number to them trucks, you can see how they hopped around. I'm pretty sure. Hopefully they did that. Let's get into it.
Either for failing to log their time or falsifying records to cover it up. But the problems go deeper. We found the people behind Hope Trans LLC have run other trucking companies, all with a record of safety issues. At the time of the crash, Hope Trans CEO was Aisha Magomedova. She and her husband, Sarvar Miradov, are linked to at least 3 other trucking companies, all of which are now shut down. One of them, Cardin Trucking, was involved in a 16-vehicle pileup in Iowa in 2023 that killed 2 people. Weeks earlier, another Cardin driver lost control of his truck and died. The company shut down later that year. But the trucks didn't stop. We traced more than a dozen Cardin trucks by VIN numbers to B-Zone Logistics, which was also run by Miradov. And when B-Zone shut down, those trucks moved again.
What I told you. What I told you. I knew it. They were swapping from DOT number to DOT number. They was buying other people's DOT numbers and MC numbers. That's what they was doing. So you mean to tell me that the news could track all this stuff, but the government can't? That's the question you need to ask yourself.
This time to Hope Trans LLC.
Now, I-Team reporter Brian New, along with I-Team producer Kelsey Mittauer, have joined us this morning. So let's start with the basics. How were y'all able to connect them to all these other companies?
It's a lot of connecting between business filings, real estate documents, the federal trucking records, when you go on and you look at the safety records. And what starts happening is you're kind of building out spider webs. I was telling Brian, it's not even enough to type it, where I had to get a piece of paper and start writing out, and then you just connect across across states and across federal records.
So we saw all those different VIN numbers. What do we specifically know right now about the status of Trans LLC?
Yeah, so what we know right now is federal online records show that Hope Trans LLC, their insurance policy is now pending cancellation, meaning if they can't find new coverage, the company might have to shut down. But in the meantime, we have found that this trucking company is still out on the highways.
And we actually have pictures of it that we can show you. There's a company that has thousands.
Pending cancellation. The insurance should have been canceled right off the back. I'm going to be honest with you. The insurance should have been canceled right off the back. Also, they shouldn't be on the road because they falsified registration. So why didn't the FMCSA or the motor carrier, why they ain't shut down their numbers? So you have to wait for your insurance to cancel in order for them to cancel your numbers. Why they haven't canceled their numbers based on their record, based on the fatalities? Why they haven't did that? That's the part that got me kind of puzzled. Oh, what happened there? That was weird. Hold on.
Thousands of cameras set up along highways, and they actually track trucks for other companies. And you can see here, they caught Hope Trans.
Genlogs. Hey, don't be fooled that they only track trucks. No, sir. They track regular vehicles too. So you know if a police officer asks you where you coming from, and you say, hey, I'm coming from California, and you was around Oklahoma, that's how they know you're lying. They'll run. See how they're showing you just that part? You see, the tag part is the one where they get you at. So Genlogs doesn't log just trucks. No. See, what you could do is you go to Genlogs. I don't know if you could do that now, but you go to Genlogs and you punch in your plate number or somebody's plate number, and you will see exactly where they was at, where they was driving at, how many times they got on the highway, what areas they got on the highway. And that's how you get busted. If you ever see the dash cam when a state trooper pulls somebody over and they be like, do you got something in the vehicle? Like in Arkansas use Genlogs a lot. So you tell them, yeah, man, I'm coming from California. And then he'll ask you, well, where you coming from, blah, blah. And you be, yeah, I'm coming from California. Then you'd be like, hey, he'd be like, hey, man, where you coming from again? I'm coming from California. He'd be like, well, why was you in Oklahoma for 3-4 days? Driving through here and driving through there. That's because of Genlogs. So yeah, guys know. So that's how they catch you with a lie, and then they bring the dog and all that stuff. Well, yeah, just be careful, man. That's what I'm going to tell you. Don't do criminal activity. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Trucks in 24 states, and this is since the crash, since June. And so they've still been operating since the crash.
And this is an investigation that continues for y'all, because you've actually got part 2 of the investigation airing tonight, which specifically takes a look at the U.S. Postal Service involvement and role in this crash.
Yeah, because remember, Madison, that this trucking company was hauling mail for the U.S. Postal Service, so one might assume that the U.S. Postal Service knew about Hope Trans LLC and some of their troubled past, but we found that the Postal Service often doesn't even know who's hauling their mail.
And they don't know when there's a crash. Even one as terrible as the one in Terrell, it might not be reported all the way up, so USPS isn't tracking any kind of crashes. And so we're going to get into all that tonight, and the uphill battle to fix that problem.
All right, well, we've got more on the investigation again tonight. Brian, Kelsey, thank y'all so much for joining us. And
let me tell you what's going on. Is it true that the Postal Service don't know? They don't know because they subcontract the work out. So it really has nothing to do with the Postal Service. The Postal Service did nothing wrong. Okay? They did nothing wrong. They subcontracted to another company. You can look on the trailer and you can see the company, I'm not going to mention the company. They subcontracted to that company. That company, subcontracts to other companies. That's what they do. Now, is it the company that subcontract to the other company? No. Is it their fault? No. It's not their fault either. It's the fault of people lying, saying that they have 2 drivers per truck, a team driving truck, and they don't. Okay? Now, it's very strict for you to pick up these loads. When I tell you it's very strict for you to pick up these loads, very strict. They changed their stuff, they changed everything around, and it's very strict to change these loads, to haul these loads. Okay? Now, you have to have over 501 miles, you have to have 2 drivers in one truck. Anything over 501 miles. Okay? Now what they do is they know exactly what truck is picking up what loads, what drivers is in them trucks, if it's 2 drivers in that truck, and everything. They check everything now. So I don't know what, at the time they didn't know what was going on, but now they do know what's going on. Things have changed dramatically for these loads. Don't ask me why, just know that things have changed, and it's changed for the better, and that's a good thing. All right? I'm not a trucking channel. I react to everything, but, you know, I'm in this industry and been in this industry for 25 years. So I'm dealing the brunt of the bad things just like everybody else in this industry. All right? Peace and love, and I'll catch you on the next one. And I said what I said, man. Stay out your feelings, all right?